got a player you own. All right, Tony, it's a segment where we break it down for you guys. These are the guys that you don't want to start this week because of matchup injuries, what have you. Tony, let's start off with you. Who are some of your busts going into Week 11?
Joe Flacco, a rookie against the Giants defense. I think it could be ugly. Mason has injuries, questionable to play. There is no Raven that is fantasy relevant this week, so do not have a Raven in any fantasy lineup. Sean Alexander, I am hoping you guys that listen to the show that have Clinton Portis were not using Sean Alexander as your handcuff. I don't look for that to be a suitable situation for a starting running back. Sean Alexander should not be in your fantasy lineup. And you did not go this week with the trade deadlines approaching. I'm hoping none of my guys out there traded Marshawn Lynch this week. He gets the national stage Monday night, 110 yards and 2 touchdowns. I hope you still got him on your team. Do not start Willie Parker until you see him take a hit. I think Willie Parker's one hit away from being done for the season. Milwaldy Moore is the safer play there. I'm hoping you didn't waive Justin Fargas, as he will still get the most carries in that Oakland backfield. And please, oh my God, don't start Matt Hasselbeck this week. The guy didn't play in preseason, came back for a limited time in the season. The whole offensive line is a joke. The wide receivers corps is a joke. Matt Hasselbeck will not rescue you as you try to make the playoffs.
Wow,
With
good
that,
stuff. Good stuff. And I'm gonna I'll tell you what I got for my bust is I'm not liking the whole David Gerard situation. It's a guy to me that's been a complete bust this year. Everybody was all up on his tip, Tony, at the end of last season. This guy just has not come through. I'm staying away from Marshawn Lynch, too, and I don't like Tony Parker. Two guys that, again, the matchups, the situation that they have going on right there, not big fans of those guys. Dwayne Bowe is a guy that I look to stay away from. Again, the situation, Bradley coming in, all of a sudden has a rapport with Big Pen. It's going to end up hurting Dwayne Bowe. Now at tight end, I'm not a big fan of Heap. Again, you're going up against the Giants. I think Heap, there's going to be too much pressure there, Tony, in New York. And at defense, I'm not a big fan of the Washington Redskins this week. I think with the week off and what Tony Romo coming back, I think they're going to look for a lot of hype there in Dallas. I don't like what Washington brings defensively. I look for this game to be done and over by halftime, Tony.
Yeah, I'm liking that too. And I'll tell you what, I look for Jason Campbell to have to throw the ball in that game as well when you look at that whole running back situation. So he's going to put the ball in the air, and he put the ball in the air. There's 3 things that can happen. 2 of them are bad. Always remember that. We can have an interception, an incompletion, and 2 of those 3 things are bad.
Okay, so we go right back to the text here. From the 228 area code, what defense do you start this week? The Dallas Cowboys, which, that's one of my sleeper picks, Tony. The Colts or the 49ers defense? Which one you go with?
Oh, you know what? You got one of my sleepers there, too. I'm going with the 49ers against St. Louis. Basically, I'm playing the matchup there. That's a banged-up St. Louis team. Looked like they gave up last week against the Jets. I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers in that matchup. I think the Texans will score some points against the Indianapolis Colts.
So you got your choice. You got the Cowboys. You got the 49ers. Stay away from the Colts. Now, from the 862 area code at the flex position, do you go Darrell Jackson or Antonio Pittman?
Man, I punt.
Yeah, it's definitely not a great matchup. I like Antonio Pittman only because this is a guy, he's the touchdown whore there in Denver. So if you're looking for touchdowns, if it's not points per reception, I think you go with Pittman. There's not a lot of options there in Denver this week. I think I wrote down Hillis, P.J. Hope, Tatum Bell. You know what? I go with Darrell Jackson. I switch. I'm a Republican, so I'll switch. I'll flip-flop and go Darrell Jackson. So
absolutely there. Yeah, not a great matchup there. Pittman, you look at that Rams, I don't see them scoring much, but Pittman could get you touchdowns. But let's play loose. Let's go with Jackson. Let's go for the upside in that matchup.
Yeah, like I said, a little political satire. We love it here, right here on Fantasy Gridiron Live. We're bringing it to you live. Again, this is your guys' show. If you have a question, comment, concern, hit us up right here on the phone lines at 646-716-9118. We hit you guys up with the best start incentives right here on Blog Talk Radio's Fantasy Sports Channel. We also get you guys on email. If you guys have a question, you don't feel comfortable talking on the telephone, Tony, we got Fantasy Gridiron Live at yahoo.com. Or again, these guys are hitting us up on the text at 210-685-5098. Tony, let's get right into our sleeper picks. Who do you got that's sleeping this week that's going to help out some of these listeners going into Week 11?
When you talk sleepers, this is definitely the place to go. Sage Rosenfeld's Indianapolis is 23rd against the pass. Houston cannot run the ball. I talk about opportunity and look for 35 attempts with Rosenfeld, hooking up with Daniels and Andre Johnson. A running back, we mentioned his name quite a lot on the show, Jarius Norwood. I'm looking for 6 catches and 40 yards with a touchdown. That's if Turner can play the whole game. So if Turner does have a problem, you're looking at this defense with the Denver Broncos. It's an alleged defense, not really a defense. At wide receiver, I like Hines Ward. I can't sugarcoat it enough. San Diego's defensive backs are abysmal. The Pittsburgh offensive line is horrible. Look for Pittsburgh to hit a lot of underneath routes against the Chargers. 6 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown for Hines Ward. At tight end, I'm going with Mercedes Lewis. Jacksonville has a poor offensive line against a tough Tennessee front line. I look for 5 catches, 40 yards as they go to the middle of the field and get Mercedes Lewis one-on-one with the linebacker, 5-6 yards down the field. And we mentioned just recently San Francisco against a decimated Rams offense. They showed some fire against the Cardinals. If they could stay away from stupid penalties, they would have beat the Cardinals. St. Louis will have a tough time running the ball, and Balzer is on his back most of the game. I look for San Francisco as a sleeper defense.
Wow, I'm San Francisco. I'm going with Hill, the quarterback out of San Francisco. These two may not be sleepers, but because of the matchups, Tony, that's why I have them. A lot of guys don't have them on their radar. But I'll tell you what, I like Brandon Jacobs this week going up against Baltimore. He's a bruiser. I think it's going to take a lot for that Baltimore defense to shut him down all game long. And with Earth, Wind, and Fire, pal, this is a guy that's going to get the ball at the goal line. So I like Brandon Jacobs this week. I'm not sitting him. I like Steve Slayton. I like the fact that this is a guy, especially in points per reception league, this is a guy that can get the job done running and catching the ball out of the backfield. I mentioned it early in the show. I like the situation with the 49ers with Jason Hill. Jason Hill seems to have a rapport with his buddy, cousin, / brother, Sean Hill there at quarterback. So I'm looking for Jason Hill to step it up, especially with the injuries that are going on there at wide receiver for the 49ers. I also like Camarillo. This is a guy we seem to say each and every week and just does not get the respect for it. He's still only less than 50% of leagues around the fantasy world. So Camarillo, another guy, especially in points per reception. I'll stay in Miami and go with Fasano at the tight end position. It's going to be interesting to see if Chad Pennington goes. I mean, the whole situation, Chris Koolman touched on it just a little bit. I still like the fact that Pennington also likes to look towards the tight end, so I look for Fasano to get it done there. Now, again, I mentioned it earlier. I like the Dallas Cowboys this week, Tony, and the reason why is coming off a bye week, no running back really to speak of. You know, I'm not a big proponent of bets or even Sean Alexander if Quentin Portis can't go. And I think you look for a lot of zone coverage to stop and force Jason Campbell into making bad picks. So I'm looking for the Dallas Cowboys. And that's a kicker. I'm staying there in Miami and going with Carpenter. I look for him to have a ton of points against the Oakland Raiders. So there you have it. We're going to go right here, Tony, to our phone line from the 724 area code. You are on Fantasy Gridiron Line with Tony Sincata and Paul Greco.
Hey, Tony, this is Paul. I have 2 questions. One running back. Who should I start? Joseph Adai, Michael Turner, Deuce McAllister, and Darren McFadden?
I'm going to say you have to pick one there, right?
I picked 2.
I'm going Adai and Turner, and I'll tell you why. I think Adai, as much as he's taken flack all year, and it's definitely deservable, I look for this to be a game where that offensive line takes control from a run stand. You know what? I like Adai this week. I have him ranked in my top 10, and I'm probably about the only one. About you, Tony?
You got to go with Adai. They need him tonight. They absolutely need him. I mentioned earlier Wayne's banged up, Gonzalez is banged up, and he hasn't done nothing. This is a good matchup against the Houston defense. This is the last shot for Adai owners. He has to come through tonight, and I think you got to go with him. You picked him early in the first round, or you went out and traded for him. Tonight you play Adai.
Okay, one other question. Receiver, pick 2. Lee Evans, Reggie Wayne, Coles, Jackson, or Royale? Eddie Royale.
Wow. Hold on. So you said you have Lee Evans, Reggie Wayne, Colston?
Lernius Coles.
Oh, Coles. Well, Coles is done, so you're not going to be able to play him. He played Thursday night.
Okay, and then Eddie Royale and Vincent Jackson.
Okay. I have Evans and Wayne in my top 10, and the other 2 guys out, so I go with Evans and Wayne. What about you, Tony?